Hello, this is Chris Anderson, publisher of earsports.com, the West Virginia site on the 247sports.com network. No, this is not Country Roads Confidential, where you typically hear my voice. No, this is not a replay of West Virginia's game against Texas Tech on Saturday afternoon, which you currently see on your screen. This is, let's say, a hastily pieced together video because one, I kind of thought of this on the fly. I'll get to why in just a minute. And two, because apparently ESPN wants to make it as tricky as possible to try to make one of these fair use videos breaking down and evaluating what occurred on one of their broadcasts. And we won't get into all that, but the reason why I'm making this video is for our VIP members that were reading our board. You saw a story that I put up today discussing West Virginia's shots in the second half of this Texas Tech game, when the Mountaineers went 4 of 32 from the field. 4 of 32. I went back and evaluated each shot to determine if they're good shots, decent shots, or bad shots. And it's not as simple as, oh, he was open and he shot it, so it's a good shot. That's not always the case. You have to look at things like when the shot was taken on the shot clock, where on the court it was taken on the shot clock, who took the shots, because some guys obviously are better suited to shoot inside than out and outside than in, whether there were rotations, good passes, etc., etc. Really just kind of seeing if they are in the rhythm of the offense. And one of the things that caught my eye was a vast majority of the time, especially in the second half, West Virginia was maybe running plays, maybe not running plays. It was hard to tell, and this is something that kind of jives with what Bob Huggins has said throughout the year, that they're calling plays, but not running them. Guys don't know where to go, don't know what to do. We'll get to one of those, definitively a set play that is run incorrectly in just a moment. This one, it looks like there's going to be kind of a clear out with a two-man game on the right-hand side of the court with Gabe and Sean McNeil, which is kind of run correctly. We'll get to some issues with it and what happens after an offensive rebound. But really what caught my eyes is just a complete lack of cuts, motion, screens. According to my first rewatch of this, I think I saw a couple half screens, maybe kind of walking in the general direction of the defender. Don't know if we call them screens, kind of screens. But the first real screen set by West Virginia in the second half didn't come until 5 minutes and 20 seconds into that second half. So that's something I wanted to look at real quick. Let's look at this play. Again, Keedy Johnson's about to start bringing it up. He will pass it over to Gabe. You see Sean McNeil going to the right wing, sending Damone Kerrigan and Jalen Bridges to the left side for this clear out. Now, the point of this play here is for Gabe to dribble up past his man. And why Gabe? Typically this would be a point guard, but I think as we've seen over the last few games, it's possible that Gabe is the best drive and kick guy on the team. That's a problem in and of itself, but I believe that's the case. I believe he might be best suited to get past his man, especially in certain matchups. And the point is, he's supposed to get past his man, put Sean McNeil's defender into a tough decision, whether he comes over to help on Gabe. If he does, then that should leave Sean McNeil open for a three, because the other three guys are down here. There's nobody else to help defend. If he doesn't come over, then Gabe should have a more clear line at the basket, and if he doesn't, then one of these guys should be open in the far side. As you can see, Sean's guy comes up, double team. Part of the problem is, at this point, McNeil is far too close. This is not great spacing right here. He should be over here. He does eventually get there. But when he's this close, the defender has the ability to hedge over and help on Gabe and get back to his man without too much of an issue. Again, Sean eventually gets down there. Great pump fake, then gets an open shot. That's, first off, got to make that. That's what you're working for. The play, whether it was a set play or kind of just hey, let's try this out on offense. I don't know if you really call that a play. It worked. It got exactly what you wanted. It got your best shooter a wide open three. Got to make those shots. Didn't, but to his credit, he gets back, gets the rebound. Also, great job by Jalen Bridges here coming from the weak side. Sneaks in there. If it were a short rebound, he's the one grabbing it. Instead, he gets over and gets in position to get the save from Sean McNeil. Now, watch everybody else here. Sean McNeil is currently in the stands, literally sitting on some booster's lap over here. Damone Kerrigan is standing here. Gabe is standing here. Keedy Johnson is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He is off the screen to the right because when the shot goes up, if you're the other guard, the off guard, the one that's not shooting, typically it's the point guard, you should be back on defense to make sure there's no fast breaks. But once he realizes that Jalen Bridges has the ball, he should be shooting up right here to help him because Jalen Bridges is about to get double teamed. And one of the first things you're taught is when your teammate is getting double teamed, one of you should be open because the numbers. And two, you got to open it. You got to cut to spots to make it easier for him to pass. Kerrigan should be cutting here. Gabe should be cutting here. Keedy Johnson should be coming here. Nobody does any of that. They literally stand and watch. Oh, he's trapped. And eventually, Sean McNeil has to come from out of this person's lap over here, run past the bench, still out of bounds, and come over here to catch a pass from Jalen Bridges to get him out of the double team. And now we kind of reset back into the offense. Kind of have a natural spread here, which is good. But then standing, like Keedy Johnson's still standing there, Kerrigan standing there. McNeil passed it over to Gabe and then just wandered off to the logo. Bridges never moved from that corner. And then Gabe has to look for the skip pass all the way across the court, which I kind of like. And I wish, as you can see the ball in the air, that Keedy catch the ball, swing it through, and go right to the rim. That's exactly what he does. Good help defense from Tech, but it forces the double team. Now there should be somebody open. Somebody should be cutting here. Jalen Bridges, good job spotting up right here. And again, but instead of cutting there, Gabe kind of floats back out here. McNeil standing at half court. That's not helpful. Bridges hasn't moved much there. But again, great play right here. Really, this is all Keedy Johnson. Just an excellent play. Dribbling in and around guys and then finding Kerrigan. Unfortunately, Kerrigan gets his hands up too late. As you can see, the ball is already in the air and Kerrigan is just starting to lift his hands up. Bounces right off his face. Can't bobble it. Does draw the foul though, and then ends up hitting 2 shots. Before we keep going and get to the next play, you saw it here, and you're going to see it in the next play. The silver lining. The silver lining to all of this is that West Virginia really runs no semblance of offense. There is no motion. There is very little screening. Yet they still somehow end up with that Sean McNeil 3, a wide open 3 with your best shooter. If you can get that without scripting it, that's great. If you can get a dish to your big man at the low block with no one in front of him, he ends up bobbling it, but he was in position for a layup, a dunk, a power move there. You end up still getting the foul, get to the free throw line, and that was kind of a mess of a possession. Everybody's just standing there. So I think the silver lining here is that West Virginia is not really running an offense and still got some shots. Of course, the half glass empty look at that is that they still ended up with decent shots and went 4 of 32 in the second half. On this play here, we actually see West Virginia try to run a set play. Right off the bat, though, there's a little bit of an issue. A smart play from Texas Tech coming up with full court pressure after a made free throw, which disrupts the timing somewhat. As you can see, there's 23 seconds left on the shot clock when Keedy Johnson finally makes it half court. He's pressured the whole way. But the bigger problem is, as West Virginia is getting set up for this play, Damone Kerrigan, who you can see here, is heading to the wrong spot. We don't know this yet, but you're going to find out in a second because you're going to see multiple players yelling and screaming and pointing for him to go across the court before he finally does. Let's get into that side. He goes to the right corner, which first off, even if they weren't running a set play here, even if he was just going into motion offense, I'm not understanding why a center with no ability to hit an outside shot is going to a far corner for spacing. Any decent defender is going to back off him. I don't know why Texas Tech is, as you can see, up on him like that all the way out to that point. But he does go out there. But eventually you're going to see both Jalen Bridges up here and Isaiah Cottrell down here screaming at him to get in the correct position and start pointing. As you look, both of them pointing, waving. And on this play, I believe what's supposed to happen, and it's kind of hard to tell because Kerrigan's so far out of position and because, well, as we've noted previously, there aren't a lot of screens being set. There's one on here where you might give them credit for a screen. I would never give them credit for this. I don't think it's an actual screen, but I believe the play here is for Cottrell and Kerrigan to double screen down and for McNeil to come up to this wing right here. Keedy Johnson hard dribbles to the right, pivots back, and hits McNeil. Even without the screen, the ball does get there, although it's almost picked because there's no screen right there. The second part of this play, again, I'm assuming here, is that Kerrigan is then supposed to screen down on the block with Cottrell coming out here to the corner. And if McNeil is not open for the shot here, he can pass it to Cottrell for a three, and Kerrigan posts up, and you have a nice little triangle right here. The problem is, because there was no screen to get McNeil open first, he's got ball pressure on him, doesn't catch the ball cleanly, and then he's kind of out of sorts and isn't able to look and see, even though you can see that Cottrell gets open. He is open over here, ready for a shot, ready to shoot it, waiting on the ball, but McNeil is just getting his handle back and dribbling and not looking at him. And then you're going to see right here, I believe there might have been a third part of the play, maybe Kerrigan screening up because you see Keedy Johnson start to cut into the lane, stop, and then look just frustrated because apparently the play is not being run correctly or it's not proper spacing. Got his hands up and still has them up. And then to his credit, McNeil kind of just makes something happen, and West Virginia ends up drawing the foul, and McNeil makes both free throws.